Hi, everyone. We're Team 2, exploring, collecting, and sharing data on deaths in U.S. prisons. My name is Julia, this is Emily, and this is Amy.
Yeah, so for our project, we partnered with Third City Project. It's an organization that advocates for greater data transparency as it relates to the US criminal justice system. And essentially, with our project, we are aiming to fill some of these gaps in reporting to help support community groups that are advocating for better prison conditions. So a couple deliverables of our project. The first is creating an interactive system level data dashboard for the Third City Project website. During this, we were also working on collecting new data for system level and facility level data sets.
Yeah, so just to talk a bit about our main part of the project, the dashboard, our process for creating the dashboard first started with wireframing it out, and then a lot of data wrangling and visualization using R and Tableau software, and then moving on to building a system explorer, which Julia will later talk about. And then lastly, building the dashboard in the Third City Project website with HTML and JavaScript. Yeah, so here are just a few of our visualizations from our dashboard, which focused on two main categories of data reporting, specifically cause of death and DCRA required field data.
So this is our System Data Explorer that Amy mentioned earlier. We wanted to create something for activists, citizens, local legislators, and community organizations so that people in the community could look at the conditions of prisons that are around them in their system. And in making the System Data Explorer, we really wanted to balance shaming states that weren't accurately reporting the number of deaths in their facilities, while also not falsely accusing states that simply had good policies that were limiting mortality rates. Amazon MTurk was also a huge part of our work. This is a software that's a crowdsourcing marketplace to hire web-based labor. In our case, workers read a press release and entered present fields, and several workers read each press release. This is important for us because it increased the scalability of data collection. In the past, our data sets were created by research assistants that manually input information from each press release, and this allowed us to automate that process. And later down the line, we'll be creating a data pipeline to streamline the process as a whole. Our pilot survey results were a bit disheartening. So 25%, only 25% of the press releases had all three workers that looked at that press release agree on what the first name was. So for a field as simple as first name, 75% of the press releases didn't have accurate information collected from them by the workers, and that number was even lower for age. But we'll be working on improving this with other platforms and possibly MTurk in the future.
Yeah, so like Julia mentioned, we are working on implementing a few changes to hopefully increase the accuracy of the data that we're collecting through MTurk. The first is by simplifying the tasks. So we noticed that a lot of the systems that store their individual death data in multiple locations weren't being collected correctly. So we want to make these tasks as simple as possible for the workers. We also want to work on adding qualifications, so making sure that only certain workers who have a certain amount of experience are able to complete the task. And then lastly, exploring some alternative uses to MTurk, so potentially collecting facility level data with it, or kind of to help with the process of actually finding these new press releases.
Yeah, lastly, as we continue to work with Third City Project and our project leads into the fall semester, we have a few next steps that we are going to work towards. So first, we want to integrate the data dashboard into the Third City Project website while continuing to refine those visualizations and narratives on the dashboard. Next, we hope to explore alternative crowdsourcing platforms to streamline data collection, such as Prolific, which may have greater benefits as compared to Amazon MTurk. And lastly, we hope to write up a manuscript to collate our analyses and findings into a narrative format. Thank you. And to wrap it all up, special thanks to our project leads, Mike and Lauren, as well as our project manager, Jiwon.